huge. But it's having a large amount of implications for the software industry and obviously the telecommunications industry as well. We heard a little bit from Cisco this morning in terms of healthcare delivery. It's going one stage further. I'm not sure if it's in this country, but I do know that internationally they're using intelligent RFID tags to actually improve healthcare delivery. So you can actually get authentication that this particular medication is the right medication for this particular patient in this particular context. I don't know, I'll chat to the person from Cisco later, but I don't think it's currently part of our current offerings in South Africa. But we're going to get pressure to deliver, because that is what people are expecting. We also have the case in the municipality was talking about traffic management, and I'm very glad to hear it, that there will be wireless networks with sensors in cities. Now, I'm very fortunate to live in Port Elizabeth, and every time I come back from Gauteng, I'm very glad to hand over my rental car and get on the aeroplane, because we don't have traffic problems. My daughter's recently moved to Cape Town. She says they have traffic problems. But with wireless network sensors, they will enable us to detect where the traffic congestion is and actually reroute traffic. So it's not just about cool gadgets, it's about changing our way of life. And it's also about developing software to facilitate this change of life. The devices without the software are just that, dumb devices. And this leads us to what we call the era of ubiquitous computing. And this is one of the words that my students always say, where did that come from and what does it mean? And it actually means, those of you who did Latin, I think ubi ubiquitous means everywhere. My Latin's a bit rusty. We've got an increasing number of computing devices to interact with in your everyday life. It doesn't matter whether you sit in your home security system, or you're programming your microwave, or you're programming your fridge, an LG internet-based fridge. You can actually place an order for you. But what we need to remember, and there's a respected researcher in the field of human-computer interaction called Susan Dray, and she said if the user can't use it, it doesn't work. And that's something for software developers to remember. It doesn't matter how much functionality is there, if the software, the users can't use it, it doesn't work. So what we need to do is make our environments smarter, but also make them easier for people to use. Make them pervasive and make them transparent. Now that is going to present us with huge interoperability and integration challenges. Can you think about it? We're going to have home networks. With your fridge, talks to your microwave, talks to your, what else can it talk to? Huh? Yes, the stereo and the hi-fi and your air conditioner unit. Heaven forbid the whole lot packs up. Then we won't have to worry about electricity. We won't be able to get into our homes. We are getting there, and I've seen some example research labs overseas where they are creating these smart home environments, and they're definitely there in the future. How do we facilitate it? We converge pervasive computers. Everything from the smallest device now has a built-in chip. That's what I mean by ubiquitous computing and communication networks. I was actually a guest at the SAP International Research Forum in Dresden in May, and they're basically talking about the convergence platform will be IP. Whether it's IP version 6 or not, but it's definitely going to be IP, but that's not the subject of the talk here. Right, what do we need? We need to meet this challenge. How do we meet the challenge? We need to ensure that the software applications will support and facilitate digital convergence. Yes, we need the networks in the back end. Okay? Yes, we need the infrastructure. But we need to make sure that the software applications talk to each other to enable the devices to seamlessly integrate with one another. And that leads us to the idea of anytime, any place, anywhere. And that is the true meaning of ubiquitous computing. What is our solution? Now, from a software perspective, I'm saying our solution is multifaceted, but there's two main areas of development that seem to be meeting these challenges. Preliminary research has shown they are meeting these challenges, and the first one has to do with service-oriented architectures. So if you have, and I'll talk some more on that now, if you have a service-oriented application development architecture, then you're developing services that can run on any platform. And provided your services adhere to the standards that have been defined, it doesn't matter if you port that platform to another server, to another operating system, or even somewhere in the cloud. Amazon Web Services are running a very successful business model on delivering services, which could include data services, it could include computing services, and it could include ICT storage services. By the way, you may like to know that the Amazon Cloud, who developed the Amazon Cloud Computing concept, is based in Cape Town. And half of them are ex-NMU graduates. So that software, we were talking about software not being developed and IP not being developed in South Africa, was owned by Amazon but developed by South Africans. The other aspect, we've got the software and we've got the architecture. The challenge is to make it so that the user can use it. And the solution that we are presenting is adaptive user interfaces and adaptive service elements. And I'm going to talk more on that, but basically the concept of an adaptive interface is an interface that adapts the data that you're working with. And adapts the data intelligently. It gives you the data when you need it and how you need it. And it gives you the interaction based on the current context that you're in. So we need services that can be agile and adapt, and we need user interfaces which can do the same thing. How do we do that? Service-oriented architectures. Can I see hands up? How many people know this term? Is this a new term? I mean, if I'm talking academia, everybody knows it. Industry. I know there are some solutions out there in service-oriented architectures. It needs to be embraced fuller. Basically, we're talking about a completely decomposed distributed application architecture. And you can run these services anywhere, provided you provide a service bus. Now, that service bus could be physical, it could be virtual, it could be across a telecommunication network. And what you provide is not applications. You provide services which are matched together to form applications. The idea being, how you put it together, how you compose an application, depends on the needs of the particular consumer. So it becomes customer-centric and user-driven. It also goes together depending on what the user needs, and you can reuse components. So it scores on a reusability, a maintainability, and a cost aspect. So you may say, why aren't we developing all our new software using software-oriented architectures? There obviously is a leading curve. We've got a lot of legacy software out there, okay? And we've got a lot of people who've got to be trained in terms of designing these architectures. But the big thing to remember is that your business communication does no longer depend on the compatibility of your IT infrastructure. So if you go to a different server, different hardware provider, or if you go to a different network provider, I'm going to make myself very popular. If you have a service-oriented architecture, then your software should be able to run on any platform. It's currently being done loosely in terms of internet web services. So as I mentioned, you can go to Amazon/AWS for Amazon Web Services, and you can actually pay to use any service you like. Web services are those that are facilitated across the web, but you can define or design freestanding software that is not dependent on the internet as well. The second, let's just give you an example here, those of you who haven't seen the concept before. I've got my happy smiling user over there, okay? The user wants to book at this hotel. Now obviously the user could contact the hotel directly, but perhaps the user wants to get